That'd be great. Okay, I want to thank people who helped out in this ministry this week. Do y'all know Pat's helping out on the website now? She's doing a great job. Yeah. And the Unity Theater Group, I know that they've been practicing and practicing, so that performance is going to be excellent. Joni Spires and Pat for keeping our financial data in excellent condition. And everybody who helps out as greeters, Helen Kelly for our badge work, and Pam and Stormy and Tana back there. Could I have another stand? Thank you. It's just kind of like, I feel like I'm on a ship. Maybe it's John's announcement. I'm not sure now. It's like we are floating. All right, and let's see, just a reminder, there's a review prayer class Saturday. So anybody that wants to come to that, you are most welcome. A couple jokes. These two are from Susan, PA. Did you hear about the Buddhist who refused Novocaine during a root canal? His goal? Transcend dental medication.
Okay.
It gets better. Did you hear about the dyslexic agnostic with insomnia who stayed up all night wondering if there really is a dog? All right.
Oh,
You didn't like it, huh? All right, and then the last one's from Steve. And so this mother, her daughter's 17 years old, and she's dating, and she's going out a lot. So the mother's kind of getting really worried. She doesn't want her to, get pregnant somehow and somehow. So she talks to the school counselor. The school counselor says, well, talk to the doctor. So she talks to the doctor. The doctor said, have the talk with her and give her this box of condoms. So she approaches the daughter before she goes out that night. And she says, honey, I'm really worried about your future, and I don't really know who you're dating, but here. And the daughter laughs, and she says, oh, Mom, don't worry. I'm dating Susan. Okay. All right. So today the talk is on chakras and also 7 days of creation, because there's probably some people in here who know tons about chakras and maybe not the 7 days of creation, which of course is the beginning books of Genesis. And maybe you're biblical scholars, but you might not know too much about chakras, so I'm weaving them together. So that first slide, Hannah, hopefully it's the first one. It's not the first one, it's the one I wanted that I want it to be the first one. Thank you. All right, so what are chakras anyway? Chakras are major centers of both electromagnetic activity and vital energy, and they're recognized in all cultures all over the globe. The word chakra means vortex or wheel, and they're swirling, so that's why I like this picture a lot, because it kind of shows the swirl. And there's at least 7 chakras, 7 major chakras located from the base of our spine to the top of our head. And memory is energetically encoded in our chakras. So imprints of every important event or emotionally significant event that we've experienced is recorded in our chakras. Did you know that? No. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. So each chakra regulates distinct aspects of our personality. Each has specific tasks and dedicates its energy to those tasks. And then when 2 chakras are not communicating with one another, or when they're cut off, you see the subpersonalities show up. And those subpersonalities we talked about when we did the shadow work in a couple Sundays. So while our chakras tell our stories, they can also hold our stories back. And once a chakra has been energetically blocked, once it's released, then our lives can unfold as they're supposed to. So there's a story about a woman who's approaching her 86th birthday, and somebody gives her a reading with Donna Eden. Donna Eden, who was, of course, energy medicine guru and chakra guru. So the woman comes in, and Donna says to her, do you believe in past lives? And she says, no, absolutely not. So Donna proceeds and says, well, here's what I see. I see a young man in his 40s. He's in England. He's a professional pianist. He's married, and he has 2 children. And he wants more than a mundane life for his family and his daughters. So he gets up the courage to take them to the new world, which of course is America. And they can only bring one piece of furniture, so they choose his piano, of course. And they get to the new world, but they didn't realize how harsh the conditions would be and how primitive the conditions would be. And the daughters, of course, hate it. And the man's a professional pianist, so there's hard labor to be done, and he doesn't know how to do any of that. So he tells people that, and they try to guilt him and say he's trying to get out of work, and he says, no, I'm not trying to get out of work, I just don't know how to do any of this. So he's a short short fellow, so they said, well, you stand be the guard at the fort. And so every day these little Indian children come and they talk to him and play with him, and it becomes the highlight of his life, just dealing with these little Indian kids. And life goes on, and his daughters marry, and they move away, and finally the piano was lost in some foreign port, and it finally comes, but by this time he's very old, and he doesn't have the courage to get up and play. So the woman that is hearing this starts crying, and she says, that was me, and I play the piano very, very well, but I've never been able to play it in public. And that night is her 86th birthday, and so she plays it for her friends, and her friends are, of course, astonished that she can play so well, and of course her daughters are so proud of her. So that's what can happen when chakras get cut off or don't communicate. Chakras also influence the endocrine system, so they involve and influence our moods and our personalities. So literally our physical, our psychological, and our spiritual journeys are all reflected in our chakras, so they're pretty important. So there's 7 major chakras, and I want to stick on this slide for just a couple minutes. I know, Tan, it's not one of your favorite slides, because there's no color there. They go 7 layers deep as well, which is quite fascinating, and so our present life is usually on the furthest from us, and it's usually not integrated into our chakras, and as we go deeper and deeper, those experiences that we've had, those are really the learned experiences we've had. So as you get to the deepest part of the chakra, that's where your true knowledge and your true strength are. So all chakras are equally important. And now we can change the slide. And as you know, as you've seen any pictures of chakras, they represent the different colors from the base of the spine up to the crown. So the colors are vibrations, aren't they? They're vibrations of energies. And so if you, the chakras also, even though they're centered in the body, they affect all the organs, all the ligaments, all the bones, all the muscles in that area. So if you're having trouble in a particular area, you can work with that chakra, and you can also wear the color of that chakra, and that helps heal anything that needs to be rebalanced. So there are 7 steps in the creative process, and so we know that the 6 days represent spiritual development as we unfold in our mind, and so we'll go through these. So the root chakra sits at the base of the spine. It's traditionally, the color is red. It's our earliest experiences. It's our tribal nature. The more civilized a culture, the more muddled the root chakra. That figures, doesn't it? So the root chakra is the foundation of all our fundamental drives. Drives to eat, survive, make love, stay safe, protect our family. And the root chakra is fed by the cosmic fire from God. So when the root chakra is clear, we have plenty of energy, plenty of fuel. And when we've had assaults on our first chakra, that may be the reason we have diminished life force. So that first step in the creative process is let there be light. And light exists as a creative presence, an expression of the eternal energy of the divine, and all life begins with that light, doesn't it? Yeah, because we're light beings. And then that second chakra extends from the top of the pelvic area to the belly button, and of course includes all those organs. And that's where the soul embraces the body, and that's where the woman in the piano story was finally released in her second chakra. And one of the most important things about the second chakra is it doesn't have to make sense. And that's really where we get our intuitive promptings, and our logical mind says, I don't want to take that turn, I don't want to make that call, I don't want to drive that road. But it doesn't have to make sense. The second chakra honors more of our child nature and is more the right brain thinking. Okay, and then the second step in the creative process is let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. And what that's saying is let there be a beginning. With the infinite is represented by the waters, and creation needs a starting point. So we're having a starting point there. The third chakra, the solar plexus, maintains our individual identity, our ego. It holds the energy of discrimination, assertion. It's called also the power chakra. Any healers know that as power chakra. Its color is usually yellow. The third chakra is more like left brain thinking and the controlling parent. The third step in the creative process is let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place and let the dry land appear. So it introduces our power of imagination. Out of infinite possibility, we begin to choose. Now, what's interesting between the second and the third chakra, and this is Donna Eden, she says there's a belt flow between there, and it goes around the waist, and it can be a huge wall. And it actually cuts the second chakra impulses off from the third chakra. And she says once that connection is reestablished or opened, then energy rises, knowledge about a truer, kinder, gentler self can filter up, and self-condemnation and self-hatred begins to dissolve in the knowledge. So that's pretty important. So the heart chakra, that's the fourth chakra. That's usually indicated by green. I like green and pink for it because it's it brings heaven and earth together. But they usually show it as green. They didn't ask me, you know. And she writes, Donna Eden in Energy Medicine, that one of the major problems of our modern cultures is that we don't make decisions based on our heart's principles. That our heart is underrepresented, you know, in the way our organizations are governed. So we can say organizations, particularly maybe corporations. And she also said having a large heart chakra, where we're feeling everybody else's pain, we can become an enabler, and then we stifle their growth process if we're trying to help another too much. And the fourth step, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night. Charles Fillmore associates this with the twin powers of will and understanding. So there's our power of the month, will. And as I mentioned last week, will and understanding and wisdom, those are the triumvirates that really work all together. You need all three of those. Okay. So the fifth chakra, this is, it's called the Holy Grail of chakras. Now the reason this is so important is information from the lower chakras has to pass through the throat to get to the upper chakras. And the upper chakras information has to pass through the throat to get to the lower chakras. You know that the thyroid gland is there, which governs metabolism. And so there's a bunch of people who have written that say if you're not able to express, you stifle that passageway. Okay. So closing the throat and not expressing the feelings is the beginning of instability in mental control of an individual's balance. So it's a lack of trust in the self to not be able to express. And Reverend Gerald writes that it's the causal factor of all illnesses. Fear of speaking from the heart with unconditional love. If we have that fear, we're blocking that energy in the throat. And that energy, calcium is also mediated right there in the throat. So, and then what happens is the body becomes imbalanced, and then the throat blocks the connections, and it sets off these complex set of reactions, and it tells the endocrine system that you don't need information, secretions from the pituitary gland, and then all of a sudden your whole system is really out of whack. So herein lies the reason in many healing books where people have almost a miraculous healing, because once they learn to speak their truth, all of a sudden they're healed, their skin clears up, they become the right weight, just because they learn to express their truth of who they are. So that fifth creative process is let the water swarm with living creatures and let birds fly above the earth. So we know that birds metaphysically, they carry higher thoughts other than earthly thoughts. And so we get into that fifth chakra where we're getting up now into the other two higher chakras. So we get to the sixth chakra. It's the beginning of the upper two chakras where the sense of an ego and identity are transcended. Transcended. It makes possible time-space benders, space-time benders, telepathic communication, precognition, but more fundamentally it tunes our energies into the more subtle energies. Everybody experience that from time to time? Yes, okay. So we call it the third eye. So anybody that's having eye challenges, that color is indigo blue. So if we see some indigo blue hats being worn, we'll know that people are working on healing their eyes. All right. And then the sixth creative process is let the earth bring forth living creatures after their kind. So this is where we are created from the God force. This is where at this stage the creative process brings forth our ideas. Our ideas are clear, they're focused, and they become to form. So the sixth chakra is that place where the ego, again, is transcended. And, there are, of course, instances where people can use this energy and not be spiritually tuned in. And Napoleon is an example of this in history, because what he did when he was crossing the Alps is he said there are no Swiss Alps. So he really transcended things without being spiritually connected. And then we can witness this activity going around the globe today, can we not? So, and then the seven chakras are crown chakra. It's where the cosmic fire from God flows through the connection. It's where we feel our oneness when we have that gap in meditation. And it's where we rest on the seventh day, where we touch our spirit with divine spirit. So it's important to keep our chakras clear, because when our chakras are clear, then all the energy can flow as it's supposed to. So you can have, from the root chakra, you can have greater life force, greater creativity from that second chakra, more assertiveness from your power chakra, the solar plexus, more love and compassion from the heart, expressiveness from the throat chakra, and the ability to transcend our own stories from the third eye, and then be in the flow of the cosmic connection. So I thought what we would do for this active meditation, I think we have a song first. Was there one more slide here? I think it was just to show the powers. So Fillmore's powers basically follow the chakras, the 6 areas of the chakras. And so I was looking for a slide, I don't think it's been invented yet, where we show the colors and the powers coupled. So maybe someone will come out with that. That would be a great slide. And so I think we're going to have a meditation song now, and then we're going to do an active meditation. We're going to do chakra clearing so that you'll know how to do it. And we have the words up on the screen for people that are hard of hearing, but Rosemary will send it out to you tomorrow so that you'll have it if you want to refer to it, if you want to do it at home. But we'll show you how to do it here.
Only believe.
directions and then we'll just practice. It's very intuitive, so you don't have to overthink this. You place your hands, let's say I'm working with my third eye. You place your hand or your hands over the chakra and you begin to circle in a counterclockwise direction. So everybody's going to go, oh, what's counterclockwise? So they tell you to make believe that there's a clock on your body and then you'll know which way is counterclockwise. And then what you want to do is you want to make slow counterclockwise circle about the width of the body or a bit less. And you want to do it about 4 inches from your body. I think I missed that, so I'll add that. So about 4 inches from your body, you'll still be able to feel the energy from the chakra. And then after you clear it, you're going to shake that energy off. And then you're going to put good energy, a different energy in. You're going to begin to circle over the chakra in a clockwise direction. So you are clearing first, and then you are putting good energy in. And we can start at the base and move up. The one thing I do want to point out is that the single exception to the order of circling counterclockwise first and then clockwise is that if you're male, when you get to the crown chakra, the order is reversed. A clockwise motion will clear the crown chakra's energy, and a counterclockwise motion will reharmonize them. So a woman's crown chakra, however, spins in the usual direction. Okay, so that's important to remember that. Well, it's only important if you're male, or if you're working on somebody who's male. Okay, so let's see. I don't want to confuse you because my counterclockwise might look different from you, but so everybody have the idea. You work, say, at your root chakra, and you're going to go in a counterclockwise direction. So picture that there's a clock right here. And you're going to go counterclockwise. And then after you do that for a while, you shake off that energy. And then the other thing is that whatever time you spend clearing, you want to put in about half that time. So if you decide, oh, I'm going to do this for 20 seconds, I'm going to clear each chakra, then put back in 10 seconds at least when you're building the energy. Okay, anybody have questions?
Do you use different hands for those two things?
You could, but it's important that you keep shaking. That's what I do when I do it myself. I use one hand for clearing, and I shake, and I use the other hand for building. Yeah. Yes?
Does it matter
Dan?
whether you start top to bottom, bottom to top?
It doesn't. The books always say start bottom to top. You know, but. Yes?
Could we have a copy of that?
Mertiz. Yeah, we'll send it out on email tomorrow. What's that?
I don't have email.
Oh, okay.
That's okay.
All right. Well, we can mail you a copy. Anybody else? We'll print a couple, and Carol, if you're not an email or anybody else, we'll have some here for Wednesday. All right. So everybody have it, and you really feel a difference. It's great when you do it before you go to bed. Because it's totally relaxing. So anybody, any other questions? I'm not sure why we're doing this dark, but I guess the lights just didn't get back on.
Reverend Mark.
Yeah, please.
Reverend
All right.
Mark.
So yes.
Thank you. Is it best to be seated, lying down, standing?
It didn't say.
Okay.
Yeah, she didn't say. Donna Eden, you can do it anywhere. And well, I'm not going to say anymore. Yes, Art, did you have something to add?
No, I was
Okay,
just
but
pointing,
what's that?
I was just pointing out to her.
Okay. Anybody else? Everybody have the hang of it? So remember that the reason that chakras are so important is that they encode our physical, our psychological, and our spiritual development. Everything's all encoded in these chakras. So if they're clear, one of the benefits is we may realize we feel more intuitive promptings, or we may feel like we are thinking clearer. And then to clear the belt, that I mentioned between the second and third chakras, is set that intention. Set that intention in your prayer and meditation life. If you feel like you don't really listen to your child at all, or your right brain at all, set that intention and see if there's anything to do. Okay, thank you. Are we? Okay.